What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Empower Studio. Guess what we're doing today? You guessed it. We're building another PC. So sit back, relax. We're actually building for a customer that was ordered from our website, a build. So we're going to be putting that together today. If you're not familiar with our builds, the Quantum Prime over on our website is the build that we're going to be assembling today. And if the TikTok folks could actually tell me, this is my first time streaming on TikTok, let me know how the audio sounds, because I know it can be questionable. I don't know what it's going to sound like over there. I tested it out and it sounded like it was going to be fine. So let me know if the volume is too low or too high or whatever the case may be over there on TikTok. Just give me some feedback. Aussie, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the build stream over there on Kick. The price on this build is a $850, I think, after taxes and shipping, somewhere in that price range. Yeah, it's $850 on the website, and then there's, if you're gonna have it shipped, there's shipping and taxes also. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the build. We're gonna run through all the parts that we have here on the table, and then we are going to start building it. And if you want to learn how to build a PC, this is actually a great way to learn, because it's pretty much the same process for any other PC. You know, some things might be different depending on what different components you're putting in the build, but for the most part, it's pretty close to the same experience. So this is about a $850 build. Nice, this is Connor. You fixed my PC about a week ago. It's been running great so far. Awesome. Great to hear, man. Good to hear. So let's go ahead and get into a top-down view. I know TikTok's already in that view because I haven't really set up any other scenes. I apologize. We'll get to adding more flavor to TikTok here soon. And for those of you who don't know, I do stream, I'm multi-streaming right now. I am streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Kick, Twitter, everywhere. So we're live pretty much everywhere. So if you don't see the comments that I'm responding to in the chat, it's because they're coming from a different platform. All right, so let's run through the parts list and we'll get started on the build. Let's not cover that up. I forgot that camera's there. Also, just because of how it's set up with TikTok, I'm streaming on a second platform, or a second, what do you call it? Basically, it's TikTok's version of OBS I have to use until whatever requirements you meet are met. So basically, I've got OBS or Streamlabs and the TikTok live up on my screen, and they're on two different platforms, and therefore I had to use two different sets of cameras. So I have this camera here, will eventually migrate to the actual camera, and we'll have better views in the future here. But for now, this is how it has to be until TikTok says, oh, you're real deal. But thank you, TikTok, for giving me the opportunity to stream over to TikTok. Well, let's give it a go. So first off, we're going to start off with the CPU, which is the AMD Ryzen 5 3600. It's got 6 cores, 12 threads, and a max boost of 4.2 gigahertz. Next up is our motherboard, which is the Gigabyte B450M Wi-Fi, which is a micro ATX motherboard, has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth built into it, all the modern necessities that you'd probably want while while you plug in your PC, set it up and whatnot. It's a great board. It's got lots of features on it for this build. It's perfect. We're going to be running 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 RAM, which is two 8 gig sticks at 3200 megahertz. CL16 is the timing. And this is Silicon Power Zenith RAM, which is addressable RGB. So cool. And then next up, we have a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. This thing is pretty dope. It's got some pretty good speeds on it. I think it gives all the way up to 3,500 megabits on the read per second, 3,500 megabits per second. So it's a great SSD if you are trying to, I guess, just for any usage actually outside of, with just gaming in general. It's a great, really fast, super snappy drive is all I'm saying. Cooler, we're going to be cooling the CPU with a Thermalright Frozen Note 240 millimeter AIO, which has a 240 millimeter radiator, two 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans on it. The pump is actually in the line, so it's what we would call an inline pump. So it's a fantastic cooler. The pump, I think, gets all the way up to like 5,000 RPM, or even actually it might be a little quicker than that. So it's a super fast pump. It's going to move that liquid like crazy. And these you can get on Amazon for a really good deal. And I've been using them for a while, and I've honestly haven't had one fail. So it's pretty impressive. I've actually reached out to Thermalright looking to see if they would be interested in a sponsorship or a partnership. So we're waiting to hear back from Thermalright on that one. Digitep for the power supply, which is a 650 watt 80 plus gold rated power supply, though on the order it is actually supposed to be a bronze rated power supply, but we are trying to put gold where we can. Hey Steve, what's up? You are listening to Elvis and the King. Nice! Welcome to the Build Show. I hope you're enjoying Elvis and the King while you're listening. But we have a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply that's going in there, and the graphics card we're going to be using is the AMD Radeon RX 6600, which is an 8 gigabyte graphics card, recommended for 1080p. PCIe 4.0, but we're going to be using 3.0 on this board. And this is the XFX Swift 210 for the build. So Steve, in regards to your question or comment a couple of streams ago, you had asked when I'm going to be building with an AMD card. Here's another one. And we did a 580 on the other card, or the other stream, couple streams ago. Fans that we're going to be putting in the system here are by Thermalright as well. And these are the TL C12CS. And this is a pack of 3, so we have a total of actually 5 that are going in the system, even though I have 6 here. Only 5 are going to make it in the system. Outside of that, the case is a dual chamber O11 dynamic look-alike case, which is it's a knockoff case, I guess you can call it, from the O11 dynamic, and it is a micro ATX tower, so it's a little bit smaller, but it is fancy and it moves air, and that's the important piece out of all of it. Is the aesthetics look good. It's a solid case, and what kind of airflow comes out of it. So all of those criteria are met. So we're super happy with the case. So let's go ahead and get started with the build in just one moment here, guys. We'll get started here. Perfect choice. The RX 6600 also is really good for gaming in Linux. Yes, it is. I just wanted to check, because this is my first time streaming over on a TikTok. I wanted to pull it up and just see what it sounded like. I have not seen it before, and I'm also worried that the sound is going to be off. Well, whatever. We'll move on. We'll hope it's good. But if anybody wants to jump over to TikTok and look up Empower Gaming Computers, and let me know what it sounds like, that would be cool. Because I'm looking at the monitor down here at the bottom on my screen, and it doesn't look right. But when I tested it, it sounded right. So I don't know if the tool is accurate or not. So, all right. Let's get started. I'm going to move some of this out of the way because we're not going to be using it right away. We are going to get started with the motherboard, the CPU, and the RAM. And that exposure over on TikTok just skyrocketed. Fix that. I don't know why it feels like it needs to skyrocket that exposure. That'd be the camera. Turn music volume down. Thank you. Is this any better? Con? Is that music lower? Is that any better? Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Yeah, the exposure also on this camera, because I have to use two different cameras temporarily until TikTok gives me the green light. But the exposure on this camera is doing some funky stuff too. Let me see if I can get that adjusted as well. But it's kind of like a, hey, we're building, but we're also testing this out kind of moment. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I think that's okay. What do you think? Yeah, looks good. I could probably get it to zoom in and stuff too, but high computer load detected. Well, that's interesting. I am maxed out on my CPU while doing this also, so let me know if there's any frames dropping. I'm due for an upgrade, I told you guys. All right, here we go. Let's get the CPU in the socket. And we will move on to the SSD, the RAM, get that case out, and start doing that. So again, this is the Ryzen 5 3600. For those TikTok viewers. CPU. Still recommended to this day. Hey, what's up? Long time no see, buddy. How's it going? Good, good. How are you, man? Over on the Twitch. 1700 frames, no drops. Thank you for that, Steve. So my CPU pegged at 100%, all cores, is still going good. By the way, that's a Ryzen 7 5700X running this S show. When I say S show, I mean it with heart. But Judy, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Definitely accidentally closed my kick chat as well. On the struggle bus today. Ozzy, my PC was just under 1,000 with a Ryzen 5 7600 and an RTX 4060. That's pretty good. But what build is it? Did you get it from somewhere or did you build it? You built it, then you help me out. That's right. I'm sorry. I talk to so many different people. Sometimes I get lost. And I'm old. Doesn't help. Time difference hits hard, man. Yeah, I know. I feel you. Here's our 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD. This one has a 5800X 3D with 7800 XT. Love this computer. Yes. I love those 5700 or 5800X 3Ds. Those are great. And you can pair it up with really good cards and it can keep up. It's like my number one, you know, budget performance CPU, I'll call it. There we go. We've got our M.2 NVMe installed. Now we can move on to getting the case out. Oh, let's get the case out and get this mounted inside the case. Get these fans installed. All that fun stuff. Of course, we should probably zoom back out. This is the 011 dynamic kind of knockoff case that I was talking about. Got the fish tank style look to it. We'll have side intake right here. We'll have bottom intake. We'll have the AIO mounted on the top and then a 120 on the rear. These are all 120s throughout. But it's actually, in my opinion, a really nice case for the price. I think this is like a $60 case. It's bare metal, so meaning there's no fans or anything included, which I like about that because I prefer to use the Thermalright fans, even though it adds more time to the build. I think the Thermalright fans are better. Don't think we actually need this panel though, so we can remove that. This is an extension for a full micro ATX size board. This is not a full micro ATX board. We can remove that. Will hang off slightly, but not too badly. So how's everybody's Saturday going so far? Kind of weird song, and I didn't know this was in there. I don't think the song was supposed to be in the stream list. The queue. So we're just gonna go with it. Question for you and the community. Do you always have all games installed on the discs? I'm asking because even my 4 terabyte SSD is now 75% full. So the answer to that question on my end is no. I do not always have every single game installed at all times. Pretty much only the titles that I'm playing. And for me also, it's a little bit different because my computer is not only a gaming computer, but it's a streaming machine and all sorts of other stuff. So the majority of the storage is actually video or photo editing, or so I use it a lot differently. But in regards to the games, I really only keep the games that I'm playing installed. Everything else, I'll just remove it and re-download it if I have to. But if you want to add more storage, you can always do that. Very easy to do. So I think another 4 terabytes right now, you could get a 4 terabyte M.2 SSD for like between $200 and $250, which isn't bad, but the price is higher than what it was probably 6 months ago or so. So it's been a while, or it's gone up over time. But it always does that during like the beginning of the year, and that's mostly because of the Asian holidays, we'll call it. A lot of the factories or manufacturing facilities will close for the holidays in recognition to their holidays. At the beginning of the year, it's kind of like their New Year / celebration time, and that actually impacts the market pretty badly. So everybody thinks, oh, it's because it's after Christmas. It's not. It's generally because they're closed. They're not making anything right now. So it kind of adds up. All right, so there we go. We got our motherboard installed. So let's get some of these cables from the case, which is our front panel connectors here. We got our power button, USB 3.0, HD audio, and our, it looks like we have an LED button that we're not going to use, but reset and LED buttons. So we've got USB 3.0 here. So pretty much everything's on the bottom in this case. In this case. Let's get this thing removed because this is going to be in my way. We're going to put it back on, but it's going to be in the way. Okay, for some tapping on thread. There we have it. All our front panel connectors are plugged in and ready for duty. Move on to getting some of these fans installed, which we're using the Thermalright TLC12C-S, which is a 3-pack of 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans. These are available for a very, very good price on Amazon. And out of the probably thousands that I've used now, I've only had a couple with bad bearings. It's pretty good, what that means. It's impressive. We're going to make the side intake Let's get these twist ties all undone. Then we'll put them on the side or the bottom here first. And you all know how much I love twist ties. I love twist ties so much. They're my favorite. We're going to start with the bottom ones, and then we'll work to the side and rear, or rear then side. Bottom is going to be intake as well. There we are. 2 fans installed. Now we do need an extension. I got one here. Ready to go. And we need an RGB connection here. This is the rear fan that's going to be exhaust. Coming along. We'll actually probably tie this into the AIO for that portion of it. Anyway, let's get the two side installed, side fans. Set these up though, because these are obnoxious. When... Hey, what's up, some giant idiot? Welcome to the Build Show. When did I even start building PCs, assembling? Years and years ago. I think my first PC ever assembled was in 2003. Long time ago. That would be probably the beginning. I'd say in between 2002 or 2001, 2003. Not that long ago. What do you mean? I feel old. That's over 20 years. Yes, it is. Don't argue with me, some jack idiot. You're making me sit here and wonder, am I actually that young or am I that old? I don't know. 2003 was 10 years ago. No. What year are you living in, sir? Wrong. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away is what it feels like, okay? 20 years, maybe not that long for you, but for me it feels like an eternity. I don't want to be old? Oh, I see. We're just pretending it's not that old. But we're not that old. We're still young. I don't have a crazy ton of gray hairs in my beard yet, so there's that. My knees might hurt like a I whistled. But, you know, whatever. Nobody cares about Ben's knees. Twist ties. Twist ties. Twist ties. Hey, what's up? Welcome back, Lucas. Welcome back to another build show. We're building the Quantum Prime from our website currently. How to put fan inside without putting hand inside. So usually I stick my hand through here, but the front glass is still on. And it's kind of a pain to take it off, and I really don't want to take it off if I don't have to. So I'm trying not to. But part of me being lazy is going to make you guys have some entertainment and bend some paint. Same here, built my PC around 2003, I guess. Wow. You're old. I'm just kidding. It's just a theme now because you could think some giant idiot over there on Twitter. Oh, you know what I did? Is I got the fan in place and I don't have the screws ready. Nice. Great prep work. Thanks, man. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no problem. No problem, man. No problem. I'm right up there with you. I was just a kid when I was building, though. When I first started building. My uncle actually got me into it. He gave me a box of parts and a book, and he said, have at it. Here's your PC. And I was like, cool. Sat around for a little bit. Because I was like, I don't even know the first thing about PCs, because I was not actually into PCs at the time. But, well, Anna, thanks for the roses. Didn't have to do that. Hey, I'm over here on TikTok now, Anna. Now you can stalk me here. But that's kind of how it all started. I see Lucas just did 5 hours of research and learned a lot. So yeah, I'm tired. What are you researching over there, Lucas? You're welcome. Thank you. Anna over on TikTok. So I have to figure out how to get a chat window onto different platforms because I don't like having to sit here and say, hey, this person said over on TikTok versus this person said over on YouTube. I need to figure that out. Oh boy. We're in a awkward situation here, ladies and gentlemen. Get that up there. I'm not taking, I refuse to take that glass off. This is what happens when Ben's lazy and doesn't want to take the front glass off. The result. Then I need a fan controller to change the fans on the H6 RGB. I assume, hold on. I assume you're talking about the H Flow by NZXT. Fan color. I actually am not sure. I've never actually worked on the H6 Flow by NZXT. I've done work on the H9 Flow, the H5, the the H7, but not the H6. So if you have NZXT fans, I know they're a huge fan of using their little RGB hub. I'll show you as an example. I actually have one here. So, Lucas over on TikTok is asking the question about NZXT fans. I actually have some NZXT fans here, but these were from Coolers. So I think these ones came off the Kraken. But I assume NZXT would save money and use the same type of fans. I don't know why they wouldn't. But if you look here, you'll see on the fan that it has two types of connections. One is to control the speed of the actual fan spinning. The other plugs into this little hub that is included. And this little hub, this one in particularly, there's probably others that have different. I have 1, 2, 3 options, because this was for an AIO, so it would be the two fans and the pump that you'd be plugging in, which then needs a SATA power connection, and then also a USB 2.0 header in order to communicate with the NZXT software. The CAM software. So the RGB runs through this hub and then into the USB 2.0 header, which then is controlled by the NZXT CAM software. Ultimately, that is what's happening. And that is, most NZXT fans are about the same. So okay, so I hope that explains. Well, thank you, Anna, for sending me a lightning bolt and coins and roses. So, Lucas, I hope that explains or gives you an idea of NZXT fans. Probably the same over on the H6 Flow by NZXT. I would assume if they're RGB fans, they're probably going to be the same style. All right. So now that we got these two buddies plugged in, we need to actually add them to the chain of connections. These are daisy chains. So we're daisy chaining PWM and the RGB connection to the board, the motherboard. Bad microphone. I got Little Miss over here playing with the fan behind me, so now it's starting to get loud. Hey. Yeah, you're pushing buttons. But I don't work with a lot of NZXT stuff because it's just ridiculously expensive. Unless it's a request. Like the next Tuesday we have a local customer bringing in an NZXT build, and we're putting Leon Lee fans into the NZXT build, so we're going to be doing that next week, and I'm planning on doing that live on stream as well. So hey, what's up, Painkiller? Hey, what's up, Geesh? Welcome to the build show. The Saturday build show. Some giant idiot. I really, really like NZXT H7 Flow case. Yes. So one of the biggest complaints that came out of the H series from NZXT, if you remember, the original H6 or H5, I think it was, H7, Then they even had an ITX version of it, or super small version. I think it was like the H3 or H, whatever it was. That was, the biggest problem was the front was a solid panel, and it lacked airflow. So the number one thing they did was increase airflow, which is great. And then they created this Elite version, which added glass to the case, which blew my mind. I'm like, okay, so we made the Flow series, which solved the airflow problem to all of your cases. But then we're going to create this Elite series and then suffocate everything again. I don't get it. The glass on the top wasn't necessary for NZXT on the H9 Flow, for example. I'm sorry, H9 Flow Elite. It just created more problems than what it was worth, in my opinion. I don't like the H9 Elite, and I don't like the H7 Elite. I don't like any of the glass. Glass looks cool, sure, but it's super disruptive to the airflow. Wait, is a bottleneck calculator accurate though? No. The quick answer to that question is generally the bottleneck calculators out there on the internet are mostly inaccurate. It's going to be close or give you an idea, but it's not going to be straight up 100% accurate. Going back to your last comment though that I missed, the H6 Flow and the H6 Flow RGB do not include CAN powered RGB controller or CAN or fan controllers out of the box. Due to this, neither the H6 Flow or the H6 Flow RGB will appear as a device within CAN. That sucks. I mean, probably cost them like $2 to make that part. They should have just included it and used all the same fans, in my opinion. But instead, they make things difficult. NZXT. They want you to upgrade to their NZXT fans. It's all about money. They want you to take the ones that are included with the case, which look at like a value thing. They are, sure. But if you want to use the full product, you have to upgrade, and that means you're buying more NZXT products. That's a thumbs down, by the way. Yeah. Through that. Hence the reason why I don't use a lot of NZXT stuff here. My friend turned his NZXT case into a bearded dragon enclosure. But yeah, it keeps them in there because it's like an oven. Probably keeps them warm too. Looks cool as fuck. Yeah, I'm sure it does. That's actually a really cool idea for computer cases, is turn them into like pet tanks and stuff, whatever. Cool idea. Actually, I really like that idea. We need some zip ties. Oh, come on, you wee little bugger. Live will end. We have detected inactivity during our current live. Well, that's... I have to slide this little puzzle thing across the screen? Because they think I'm AFK. Haha! Screw you, TikTok. I found one for $30. Nice. That's actually a really good deal. I would have, if I'm still doing like major PC flipping, I would have jumped on that. Like I said, it's still a really cool looking case. How to make this shit look good. Talk to AI and try to figure this out. Pile of wires that we have to stuff in here. That is one of the downside to these Thermalright fans. Great value, but kind of a pain when it comes to cable management. I don't want to like choke it out to the point where it's impossible to get any cables here. Army Vet, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Evening. Wireless cables should be cool. Just kidding. They actually kind of exist. But stupid expensive. Funny thing you meant. Then there's that Project Zero, which is motherboard manufacturers basically take all the cable connections and put it on the back of the motherboard. And it's only compatible with specific cases. The motherboard is only compatible with specific cases, but it makes it so that all the connections are on the back side of the computer, not the front, including the PCIe connections for the graphics card, all on the back. So it's cool, weird, different, sure. There we go. Now we're going to drop the power supply in, because I really don't want to deal with plugging in the power supply EPS cables after we get the AIO in. So the AIO is going to be one of the last few things that we put in here. But we're going to get the power supply in and get that all plugged in. Even though I hate doing that so early, but it's got to happen. And we're going to be using a 650 watt 80 plus gold by Sedutep. Non-modular. Let's get this out of its box, mounted, and then we'll plug it in. When you're old and you bend over and you make noises. Sounds nice. Yeah, the Project Zero is interesting. It's an interesting concept, but you're limited to which case and which motherboard you can use, because it's kind of a early concept right now. MSI, I think, has an option. Gigabyte has an option. Who else? Asus definitely probably has an option. I have not actually seen them, but I'm sure they do. They always are on board with that new stuff. It means they're making money. We're going to drop this power supply in with the fan facing up, because there's going to be a vent here on this panel that'll allow it to breathe. We're going to drop it in here and get our screws from the power supply box and finish mounting this power supply. Then we're mounted, secured, and ready. Plug cables in. By the way, I might be ordering the parts earlier or later than the 23rd of June, so we might have the same build day. Sorry about that. Ads. Oh, no worries, man. Sorry about the ads. A man has to make a living, right? Is it really that scary to put a CPU in? No, it's not. Just be very careful, you know. Just be careful when you're dropping it in. Number one, make sure before you even try to line it up or hover over it, make sure it's facing the right direction, number one. That's probably like the number one thing. And then gently drop it in there. Or gently put it in. All right, so now we have a 24 pin, which is going to go to our motherboard. And then we have our 8-pin EPS, which is going to go to our CPU. Hello, bit. Love how I talk to my computers in parts. This one I actually probably should have done or routed before I put the power supply in, because now it's a little tight and cramped. Ah! If my first PC goes well, I might have to make a living off of it. I mean, that's ultimately kind of what happened to me. But look at where I'm at, so then there's that. You gotta be ready for your hobby turning into your life. If you're married, I do not recommend it if you're married. I'm just kidding. Checking over my shoulder for my wife. See if she's coming after me or not. Never know, could be a bat swinging my way. Ah. CPU EPS. Here it is. I have found the CPU EPS cable that we were looking for. We will drop it into EPS position here. Good. Perfect. Now we are ready for graphics card and the AIO. I think we're going to do the graphics card last, though. That'll be the last one to go in. Soon, 2 a.m. here, going to go to bed now. Good night, sir. Good night, Shooty. We'll see you next time. Make sure you stop by more often, man. Hang out. Hang out a while. Stay. Have a drink. All right. Have a good night, sir. Best for last. Yes, the graphics card, of course, is going to be best for last. So we're going to put the AIO in now. Now that we got this EPS CPU cable plugged in. Thank goodness. And once that's in, graphics card. Then we fire it up. So we're getting somewhere. We're making some progress here. Put things like this back in. Mounting hardware. Very important. Thermal, right? I have to rotate these fans. When I say I have to rotate these fans, it's because I'm gonna mount it like so. Like you can see here, all these cables are unfortunately, facing the wrong way. So we are going to have to rotate these fans before we get to put that radiator in place. Actually, don't know why I pulled the screws out. That was kind of dumb. Most expensive build done. I think we were just north of 10K on an open loop build that I did not too long ago. But I mean, half that build was, well, number one, it was during a time when parts were kind of expensive, for the high-end stuff. Number two, half of that build was specific parts for cooling that were very hard to get, and when you could find them, they were just ridiculously overpriced. But customer didn't care, they wanted it. So we got it. And here we are today. What's your favorite brand to build with? Favorite brand of... Do you have a specific part? Because Montech would be probably my favorite brand to build with for the cases, outside of like Lian Li. So Montech would be my budget favorite. Lian Li would be my quality, high-end favorite, we'll call it. Because Montech's actually pretty good quality. And then for cooling, Thermalright is my favorite, budget-wise. Lian Li, or you know what, Arctic is probably my favorite kind of high-end. And then if you really want to get fancy, like if you want screens and stuff on your cooler and that kind of stuff, NZXT is pretty good, but Lian Li, I think, is one of my favorites, although they had a recall, unfortunately, a while ago, which made me rethink that, but is what it is. That's beside the point. Alright, I'm just getting this RGB connection in here, plugged in and fed to the back. Or will be fed to the back here momentarily. And then graphics card, motherboard. I'd say MSI is probably my all-time favorite. I've been a MSI fanboy for the longest time. But Asus is probably the top dog when it comes to, you know, software and hardware combination. Because you got to look at both. The BIOS software combination as well as the hardware itself. You got to consider both. Shit. I didn't open the hardware up and get my screws out to mount this thing, so now I'm sitting here one-handed. Somebody hit that fail button. This is dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb. Yep. We closed that chat. Hope nobody was chatting there. Nope. Good. Hello. Hello there. Almost there. The Star Wars quote, if anybody was interested. My fingers in here. Pull this through. Come on. Now that's some finger magic. Should I be saying that? You're asking yourself, should I? Is probably usually a no. Alright, so next up we have Mr. Block, CPU block, to throw on the CPU. Then we drop a graphics card in, plug it in. Do some slight cable management on the backside. Then we fire this bad boy up and see what it looks like. Finally, for the first time. Get that bad boy off and put some thermal paste on and drop this in there. Shall we? Yes. Good. Good. Alright, time to drop that card in. Flip it over, do some cable management, fire this bad boy up. Call it a night. Saying that. RX 6600 by XFX. Great AMD card. Oh, there it is. And then she goes. Kidding. Not going in until we remove this thing. JK. I don't know that we're going to get this back on there. Don't think so. I don't really need it anyway. The card is just so big. Okay. Cable time. The home stretch. We're almost there. The end is in sight. extra element. Add up. We're just gonna kind of place this piece right around here. That's for a hard drive tray, and we're not even adding a hard drive for now, but we're just gonna do that. Utilize some of that space. There we go. What do you guys think of that? Is that clean or what? I'm out, Mr. Payne. Have a good one. Great build, man. Keep up the grind. Thank you, sir. Some giant idiot. Thank you. See you around, Mr. Geesh. Maybe on some PUBG. Also, Mr. Hey, some giant idiot. I actually am streaming a little bit different right now. I'm curious to see if any of those things work on Twitch. So, for example, any of the redemptions, the points redemptions. Not trying to get you to burn your points, but if you like testing something, feel free. We're gonna have to get a zip tie in there. Oh, like cable just bounces around freely. Nice. There we go. Built. Now, for the sake of the TikTok fans, I am going to leave it laying flat and power it up. Top-down view is going to remain until I figure out another method here. Or get another camera. Get some of this cleaned up. Right. Now we can plug it in without feeling claustrophobic at all with this bathroom. The side is we're back to not being able to see the power button. I don't know where the power button is anymore. Not looking at it anyway. Hello. There we are. You ready to push this button or what? Let's do it. Click, click. Gonna be that poop orange from Gigabyte. I know it. Hell yeah. Look at that. Nice. And we got a post. So how about that? Yes. So there we have it. That's a whole new PC. Brand new, ready to go. Not ready to go. We still have to do Windows, drivers, BIOS, all that fun stuff. We'll probably have this shipped out either Monday or Tuesday. It'll be on its way. Yay! What color is that? And I call it poop orange from Gigabyte. It's supposed to be orange. Is Gigabyte orange? I don't know why, but their motherboards default to this orange color, orange red. Or what cooler is this? I'm sorry. My oh my. So this is a Thermalbright Frozen Note 240 millimeter AIO. Got the inline pump up to 5,000 RPM, two 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans that are up to, I think, 1,500 give or take RPM, and then there's the mirror finish on the block, on the CPU block there. Very good value. I'm actually working on trying to get a partnership or maybe a sponsorship from Thermalbright. We actually are reaching out to them. When I keep pointing up there, it's because Thermalbright is written across here very extravagantly. Very nice, very cool looking. But it's a cool cooler, and it does a really good job. Probably overkill for what we're running in here. But I mean, that just means this CPU is never going to be overheating any possible way. Just always going to be cool, right? That's what that means. Yes. All right, guys. Well, that'll conclude the stream for today. I am losing energy quickly. Supposed to go mow my lawn still. Does look pretty good. Yes, it looks pretty good. I like them. I like them a lot. They have 240s and they have 360s in this model. Both of which are really good coolers in my opinion. They do a great job performance-wise, and they look pretty good for the price. You can't beat the price. Go look it up on Amazon, Thermalbright, and then just say AIO and look for the Frozen Note. You just can't beat you just can't beat the price. But they've been good. I've been using them for well over a year now. So haven't had one fail. All right, guys, time to end the stream. Thank you, everybody who has joined us and hung out and, you know, watched us build and chatted and asked questions. Appreciate all of you hanging out. I am going to probably be streaming again next week. I'm hoping Tuesday evening will be the next stream, and we've got an interesting build there because it's already a pre-built PC by NZXT. But we're doing some upgrades with the fans and things. We're taking the whatever they had in there pre-built by NZXT, which is probably NZXT fans. And we're going to be upgrading them to Lian Li fans, which are the SL Infinities. So it's going to be a really cool looking build when we're done. And I think it's in the H9 Flow or the H7, one of the two. I can't remember. The H9, I think. Or the H9 Elite. The one that I was complaining about, whatever one that was. But anyway, that's going to be Tuesday's, hopefully Tuesday evening stream. And, well, after that, we've got lots of other stuff going on too. So, thank you again, everybody. Have a good night. Happy Saturday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Take care. Bye.